Ninth anniversary power creep has been a topic recently in the community itself, and okay, in terms of not only the units specifically but the bosses as well becoming stronger. And I was scrolling through the Dokkan wiki and I was actually looking at LRHOUI Goku's EZA page. This guy is probably like the most busted EZA we've ever received. Him and Blue Evolution Vegeta, again, the most busted EZAs we've ever gotten, on par, even better than some of the brand new anniversary units. And this comment stuck out to me. I think I'm gonna read it here and I'm gonna explain why it stuck out to me specifically. And at face value, I think a lot of people will look at this and be like, that's a bad take, right? But if you really think about it, I think you can see where this person is coming from. So I think these guys are a bad sign for the game. Again, I think you read that and you're like, what are you talking about? What was the dev thinking about making an EZA stronger than the anniversary units? The card is definition of inflation. Why give him guarantee crit 24 key when he already has 50% chance of the super attack? Why make the revive so easy? Why give him additional stats after revive when he's already hitting for 20 mil with 100% crit? Why the 2-turn support? Etc, etc. This card feels more like a fan-made unit, basically, rather than the dev trying to create a strong / balanced character. Why would you run Gogeta Broly when the anniversary EZs are so much stronger? Or even summon, Because UI Goku and Evolution Vegeta, Dokkan Fest LR EZs in the future are going to match the same level, meaning 100%, which makes crit pointless if any unit could guarantee crits. 60% reduction or 70% plus dodge will make the dev make events ignore reduction and dodge. You think that this guy will ruin the game because they are the precedent for lazy unit design that's everything have to be as busted as possible instead of a unit with a cool and interesting mechanic. Now, I think that in terms of how good they made the characters, I think that that's fine. I don't mind that these guys are better than Gogeta Broly, even the Gammas. I don't really care. I think that's awesome that they made these 6th anniversary characters from 3 years ago as good as the brand new anniversary characters, if not just better, right? I think they're deserving of that. As anniversary characters themselves, they deserve to have really busted, amazing, incredible EZAs, right? There's even some people who are like, I think Blue Evolution Vegeta is better than Beast. I disagree with that quite a bit, but there's like not a zero argument there. And the thing that worry about this post right here is the state of the game and how it's gonna go from here. Because I mean, the thing about this PvE game is that balance shouldn't really be a thing that they necessarily should worry about. I mean, there's semblance to it. Like, they are not gonna make the anniversary LRs weaker than like Dokkan Fest TURs for the most part, right? Stuff like that. This person wants a more like how to explain it, better design, I guess, because the thing with these EZs is that, and even this guy, they just kind of gave them everything. There's no restrictions or anything like that, which is honestly, I think that's a good thing, that they made them this way. But you could argue, okay, well then they're making these guys as strong as they are, which in turn, how are they going to challenge these characters in the future? They're going to have to make bosses much, much more difficult. They're going to, like, what if they introduce a boss, like, because of UI Goku, that disables dodge? What if, because of Blue Evolution Vegeta, they have to introduce a boss that will make damage reduction reduced, in turn not only hurting him, but hurting all these other units who aren't gonna be as good as this guy? It just retroactively makes them worse. Or same with UI Goku, retroactively makes other characters worse, like, Blue Gogeta, another dodging character, right? And I think that's the idea, where it's like, with such a huge jump in power creep, like, other EZs are gonna have to, like, eventually, like, when we get Namagoku Full Power Frieza, they're gonna have to at least be on par with these guys or better. And then, like, what are the bosses gonna do at that point? This happens a lot with power creep, but I feel like 9th anniversary, like, power creep hit a lot differently than even, like, let's say 8th anniversary. I think it hit a lot differently than 8th, than the 6th anniversary, even than the 5th anniversary. I think it's like, this is like the closest to a reset that, like, what happened during the, like, 7th anniversary. Like, I think 7th anniversary was a reset. this was like a soft reset, right? While 7th anniversary was like a hard reset. I think a lot of the characters are so useful, but a lot of these characters have been flipped over their heads. Ma Jr., 23rd World Tournament Goku are like two examples that, you know, people are souring on now because like Ma Jr., the big thing about Ma Jr. is that he's able to get super mega high defense pre-9th anniversary. He was able to hit even like upwards of 2 million defense, which is insane. That was insane for like Fusion Zamasu, who only hit for like what 1.7 mil or something, right? Which it's crazy saying he only hit for what, like 1.7 mil. But then we have bosses like Blue Gogeta, who at the end of the fight could instantly hit you for a 3.5 million damage super attack with 1.8 million damage normals. We have Beast Gohan, who could lock you in slot 1 and super your floating character for like what 2.8 million damage or something like that, right? And it starts to get very laughably just insane, like, you know, in terms of the damage that these bosses are doing. And they're making these bosses as strong as they are because of how they made the unit designs. You know, like Beast Gohan is just dumb. You know, these guys are just dumb, right? They're stupid good without really anything holding them back. They just get exactly what they want every time. You know, these guys are just dumb good designs. Broly and Gogeta are the same thing, where maybe I think they have a little more thought put into them, but they're still really good. I think that's the worry there. But I want to see what the community was thinking, because I personally don't mind, because eventually power creep is going to happen. These units are going to get stronger, and I really like being able to use these 3-year-old units, and they're like top 5 in the game in terms of the new difficult content, because you could say, well, if these guys weren't good, it wasn't going to change the fact that these new units are as good as they are, and thus they're going to have to push these bosses to be as strong as they are anyways. Which I think is probably the correct thing to say, because it's like, if these guys sucked, that doesn't mean that Beast Gohan wasn't going to be as good as he is to push the meta, or the Gammas, or Gogeta and Broly, right? While these guys sucking just mean that, you know, they just kind of fall flat, unfortunately, right? And they don't necessarily push or define them how bosses are going to be designed, I think, as much as like the brand new characters, right? In fact, this is just helpful for free-to-play players. Or like maybe you pull these guys over the last 3 years and like the most premium banners, you have them with multiple dupes and they're like top 3 in the game, and that can actually help you beat like all this new content, right? Well, let's see. I think this is an interesting discussion. True is not looking for Dokkan this year, not gonna lie. I wouldn't say that necessarily. Just people saying fun, it's funny. The people saying this is funny because if the power creep in this keeps going direction, what's the next boss damage doing? 2 mil? Yeah. The people saying it's fun. It's funny because if the power creep keeps, okay, I see. You're saying that's funny, seeing people saying that this is fine, right? Because like, again, like stuff like this where it's like the quote unquote lazy design to just make them give them stuff that they don't really even like need. Like they don't need to like guarantee crit, but they have that. They already have the crit built in there. So it's like, okay, they're setting kind of like standard, and then obviously in the future they're gonna have to meet that standard and go beyond that standard, right? And because bosses are designed around this standard, like especially because Beast Gohan and the new units, right? But like even these guys, they would take consideration to it. It's like not as much as the new units, but I guess yeah, maybe that previous point was like kind of a little flat itself, because like the EZAs in the future, like when we get 7th anniversary EZAs, or when we get Worldwide Celebration Namek Goku and Full Power Frieza EZAs, it's like we're gonna kind of expect these Dokkan Fest LRs to kind of meet like this kind of standard, and if they don't meet the standard, they may not be good enough for the bosses that are designed because of the standard that these guys have set. Which is, you know, kind of one thing there. Doesn't know the level that 9th anniversary power bosses have. They're so clearly a global players in your eyes. You're so sorry. And that's fair too. I think these guys are designed for the power creep, which was mainly from the main units, right? So again, I said it fell flat, but I don't know. I'm like wishy-washy towards it. The funniest part of this whole situation is everyone jumping the gun and saying these two EZs are better than Broly and Gogeta. The community is going to see Broly and Gogeta's value in the late game part where you deal 3 million damage super attacks and lower them. I think I would say these guys are better than Gogeta and Broly, but I think they're on the same tier. I would say like Beast go on his own tier. Then Blue Evolution, UI, Gogeta, Broly, the Gammas, these guys are like on a tier together, is what I'm thinking, right? So yeah, they're not like necessarily pushing it that far, right? A bunch of people who still someone don't realize Dokkan as a gacha and would have died years ago if any unit remained on the same strength level. I think that's, again, it is a gacha game. Characters are going to get stronger. How are they going to sell you the more characters? By making the characters better, you know, and then pushing, like, with how they push boss power creep, it should be a way where it's like they're pushing this power creep and then releasing units that are going to be really good in the new events so that you really want to summon during those new events, right? They should be cracked, otherwise they get phased out like the 3rd and 4th years. Look at the 5th years, they're better than the Boo duo, and they can still cook to this day. You can say the same about the 3rd and 4th year EZAs once Wicked Bloodline Red Zone dropped. I mean, yeah, because the thing is that the 4th and 3rd anniversary characters were good on release, but the 3rd one, like the 3rd anniversary characters kind of got phased out fast. The 4th one, a little bit quick as well, right? So that's one thing. You agree? It seems like with Dokkan, it's always the unit is too ass, and the second we get playground units, people still complain. I mean, yeah, that's fair too. Like, people would be like, I want this unit to be super mega strong, and then when we got like a playtest, like, you know, fan made card, even people are like, this unit's too good, right? It's like hard to find a semblance of, like, you know, in between, right? Last year, both 5th years were better than the Boo duo. There's no reason they shouldn't make an anniversary LREZ godly, or else otherwise they get power crept quickly. And yeah, same thing right here. They barely held on to the first red zone meta, then they were dead. Unit out giving the dodge unit extra dodge on his EZ is bad sign. Yeah, I don't agree with that one. Like saying, oh, why is his 70% dodge chance up to 77%? It's not that big of a deal, right? And again, these are anniversary LRs. Completely true. You're very concerned by the future of the game. Again, he's not exactly wrong. It's not going to stop here. We're coming up with EZs for very powerful characters like Tech Gohan, Int Gogeta, Fusing Gogeta and Vegito. Not to mention the 7th years were probably easy next year too. And it's like we're just getting so far ahead with this power creep. It's like these units are becoming so ridiculous, especially even at this point. But then we say that all the time, right? You're like the 5th year anniversary LR is getting their guaranteed dodge in that turn. It was like they're so ridiculous for the time, and it just will progress eventually more and more and more. This is how the game does work, right? And again, yeah, you'd rather they be broken so they don't get phased out immediately. Yep, I agree. EZA 2 is coming, but what's the point of easing in the first place to the age like milk? Maybe making 4 summable characters to be the best unit that is better for players, but having EZAs on par hurts no one. Yep, exactly that. Because, again, I think that the idea behind this, which is why I kind of see where they're coming from, is the fact that because these designs are just so, like, I wouldn't say lazy designs, but, like, these designs just give them so much, exactly everything they need. On one hand, that's good for the units. On the other hand, it's like you could say, oh, is that going to be pushing boss power creep so far? Like, how toxic are these bosses going to have to become to supplement how good these characters are? Like, again, with Beast Gohan, Blue Evolution, Vegeta, you know, they're like super mega tanky. They could just live type disadvantage against even like these 3 million damage super attacks. So then they're starting to give bosses like stun, seal, like more characters locking. You know, we even got some AoEs here in the Gogeta fight, and he seals, right? Like, how are they gonna go from there? What are future domains gonna do? Like, are future domains gonna take away guard, take away damage reduction, right? I would say in terms of the EZAs, these guys aren't the defining factor. It's the new characters. Again, I want to really stress that, and I think that's where this comment I would disagree with. Because it's not really the EZAs, it's the new characters, but I think in general you could say something like that, right? And the 9th anniversary has turned the like head of the characters that were like, you know, best TURs. They're not like that anymore. My next TUR tier list is gonna be in March when the next TUR releases. But like, let's take a look at some of these like TURs on this list here that is made, right? Like, let's go from like, I mean, probably just the end of this year, like Leonard Lash, like Yamcha, right? Yamcha, he's okay now. And then from there it was what, God Goku is still probably one of the better aging TURs here, right? But then we get to Kale. Kale, well, to be fair, okay, these are bad examples, because Kale actually got a huge power creep jump with this. And that, without this, Kale would not be good at all. Kale would just be bad. But, right here, Kale got all of these, and that's super helpful for her, right? STR hit and STR Kaba as well. But then we get like 23rd World Tournament Goku Jr. See, again, I talked about Jr. earlier, but it's like his raw stats just are not enough. Like, his raw stats are just not enough sometimes. And then his teams, like, you also have to consider teams, like, even if he himself was fine, everyone around him does not meet the power creep jump. And that's because of the new design units. We could say Vegito right here. Let me break a Super Saiyan 4 Vegito. Like, the Heroes team does not meet that. Like, you know, who are some of the better hero units? Physical Super Saiyan 4 Vegito gets, like, crushed in these new stages, likely, right? Like, for sure. And Toa, she gets touched. She probably is hit for, like, 1 mil damage normal, you know? Even, like, this Metal Cooler right here. Like, he was super good defensively, but, like, you know? And then these stages are longer. Once Vegito runs out of that, you know, damage reduction, he's done for, right? Gohan and Piccolo, like, there's this better revive units now. They're just not good enough, really, in terms of the pure stats. You could hide them under Beast Gohan's team, but, like, especially now, I just don't see it. Who else here? Even, like, some of the worldwide celebration units, man. Like, Sword of Hope Trunks, what is this guy doing? He's a loser now. Fusion Zamasu doesn't have the place for him, right? He could struggle. Like, in this most difficult content, right? By the time it gets really tough, he loses all of 40. He gets only down to 40% reduction, and his defenses are not enough. Even LR Future Gohan, these fights are so long, right? And they're so tough that he takes so much damage. Like, at the end of these fights now, he takes a lot of damage at the end of these fights. Future Gohan, right? Bulma has, like, none of the good teams anymore, and she takes so much damage now. You know, Super Trunks is a character that probably benefited, but because these units are taking so much damage, you need something like a Ghost Usher. Right? So it's crazy. It is crazy how, like, the anniversary just, like, really bumped it up. This build for Beast Gohan, I would say for Beast Gohan, I 100% see it more than, like, the EZAs, because this guy was gonna, like, this is a new summonable unit. He's gonna be like what they designed the content for, not necessarily the EZAs as much. And this guy's just dumb, just really dumb design. Like, how are they gonna out-age this guy? I mean, like, they'll make a unit better than him, but how are they gonna power creep him without making the game so just like a different game entirely? They have to, like, power creep the whole game if they're gonna power creep this guy. You get what they're doing, not gonna, like, give them guaranteed crit in their passers basically for free when they have 50%, and there's SFX counterintuitive. Gogeta as a boss is very telling of the kind of units they plan on making in the future. We have to see what these bosses are like in the future, but if units are going to ramp up to meet these kind of standards and bosses ramp up even more to compensate, a lot of units may out-age very soon. And yeah, I think that's the thing where it's like, you know, you could say, oh, for free-to-play units, this is helpful because these guys are good now, right? But then it's like, everyone else gets out-aged because of all these units too, and it's like, well, you know, maybe the units don't have to be as good as they're making them, but I think that generally, like, saying it for UI Goku is wrong. Maybe for Beast Gohan is a little better, but I want to just see what people are thinking. I want to see what you guys think in the comments below as well. That's going to be very important to see. That's it for me, though. Thanks y'all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.